Have you ever wondered how your computer can handle multiple applications running simultaneously without crashing? Traditionally, applications run directly on the physical hardware of your computer. But with virtualization, you can run multiple operating systems and applications on the same physical hardware. In this video, we'll explore the world of virtualization, including the different types of hypervisors and networking tips. Virtualization can be conceptualized as a system in which physical resources, such as the CPU, RAM, and storage, are stored inside the room. The operating system acts as a gatekeeper that controls access to the room. Virtualization adds another layer to this system by creating a door within a door, which grants access to limited resources based on the size of the door. To do virtualization, you need a hypervisor. A hypervisor is a piece of software that allows you to run multiple virtual machines on a single physical machine. There are two types of hypervisors, Type 1 and Type 2. Type 1 hypervisors, also known as bare metal hypervisors, run directly on the physical hardware of your computer. Examples of Type 1 hypervisors include VMware ESG, Citrix Hypervisor, and Microsoft Hyper-V. Type 2 hypervisors, on the other hand, run on top of an operating system like Windows, Linux, or macOS. Examples of Type 2 hypervisors include Oracle VirtualBox, VMware Workstation, and Parallels Desktop. When you create a virtual machine, you need to define the relationship between the physical machine and the virtual machine. The physical machine is known as the host, while the virtual machine is known as the guest. Now let's create a virtual machine using the VirtualBox hypervisor. When creating a virtual machine, there are a few things that are important. First is the ISO image. An ISO image is commonly used for distributing software or large files over the internet, as it can be easily downloaded and burned onto a disk or mounted as a virtual drive on a computer. This enables users to install or use software without the need for the original physical disk. The next important thing is the amount of base memory. The amount of base memory required for a virtual machine will depend on several factors, such as the operating system being installed on the virtual machine, the type of applications you will be running, and the workload of the virtual machine. The number of processors allocated to the virtual machine is also important. Finally, the amount of hard disk space allocated to the virtual machine is important as well. The best values for base memory, processor, and hard disk space for a virtual machine on VirtualBox will depend on your specific requirements, but allocating at least 4 GB of RAM, 2 CPU cores, and 20 GB of hard disk space is a good starting point. Now you're ready to create your own virtual machine using the VirtualBox hypervisor. But before we proceed, let's review some networking options for the virtual machine. Networking in virtual machines can be a bit more complicated than in traditional setups. There are three types of network adapters: NAT, bridge, and host only. A bridge network adapter connects the virtual machine directly to the LAN network to which the host machine is connected. By using this configuration, virtual machine can communicate with devices on the same network as the host machine and connect to the internet directly without the NAT to the host IP address. A NAT configuration in a virtual machine allows the virtual machine to communicate with devices on external networks, such as the internet, through the host machine's IP address. The virtual machine appears as a device on the host machine's network, with its own private IP address that is translated to the host machine's IP address when communicating with devices outside of the network. A host-only network adapter in a virtual machine allows the virtual machine to communicate with the host machine and other virtual machines on the same network, but not with any other devices on external networks such as the internet and local area network. Now let's jump into creating a Ubuntu Linux virtual machine by using a VirtualBox hypervisor. The first thing we need is an ISO image of Ubuntu software, which I have downloaded from the Ubuntu website. Let's click on the new one at the top to get things started. A few things to define here are the name and location of the ISO image, as well as where to store the new VM. In my case, I am using a directory VM on a local C drive. Click Next, and here you need to create a username and password to log into the newly created Ubuntu machine. Next, you need to define the hardware resources like memory and processors for your virtual machine. You can use a slide to choose a value, or you can manually type it in on the screen. Click Next and Finish, and the installation process will begin. Let's change the view to scale mode for better screen visibility. The installation process will continue. When installation is finished, you will get a login screen. Here you can enter the username and password to log into the freshly created Ubuntu virtual machine. By default, the network setting is NAT. You can check the IP address of the VM by using the IP address command, and you can confirm the internet connectivity. Let's change the network settings to host-only mode. We need to power off the virtual machine to change the settings. Click on Settings and then Network, and you will see you have a couple of different options. We will select host-only mode this time. In host-only mode, as you can see, you don't have connectivity to the internet anymore, but you still have connectivity to the LAN network configured on LAN interface of the virtual machine. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for future videos and updates.